Hello, everyone, and welcome to One Nation Under Whisky. I'm your host, Heide Hatton, and I'm joined today and, as always, by my friend and fellow whiskey widow, Tamara Johnston-Yellen. Today, we welcome back two whiskey files. Last time we heard from them, we were at the height of the pandemic with no end in sight, celebrating Thanksgiving from afar. This year, we bring them to you in person. Welcome, Jason Johnston-Yellen and Joshua Hatton.
Yes, welcome.
Thank you very much for having us.
Yeah, thanks. It's really good to be here. We're glad to be invited in.
Yes, and so as Heide said, my dear friend Heide and longtime podcast partner, it's been 2 years since we've had you on our podcast. We've had many people on since then, right? I mean, we've had some brilliant people on, right? And so
it's been an amazing experience.
It really has.
Journey.
It a journey. Yeah, and I really feel like our fans really appreciate it, and they know and they understand like what we're trying to accomplish, and will just listen to us for hours
and hours
and hours. Yeah,
there's nobody out there in podcast land will listen to a podcast for hours. No, it just doesn't exist.
I don't believe it.
Well, I'm sorry. We have this chemistry that allows us to really grab people, and they wish it was longer.
You must have some very special listeners.
We do, and nothing that you two jamokes would know anything about.
Hey.
So anyway,
that comment.
And back to what we were saying is that we haven't seen you in 2 years, and with the pandemic and coming out of the pandemic or whatever it is that we're in right now, this limbo, how have things been since then? I mean, we couldn't even see you face to face last time, and here we are all sitting in the same room.
Wow.
Are you suggesting I haven't seen my wife in 2 years?
Oh, wait, what? Huh?
Because I might need to have a word with her.
She sounds special.
Yeah, we've slowly made it back out into the world. We've traveled. We've seen people in far-flung places. We have left our wives and children home again.
Multiple times. You can call it multiple times.
Yep.
Many, many times.
Yep.
Wow.
Have you two gone anywhere?
Nope.
No. No.
That's not part of the deal.
We don't go places.
We hold down forts.
All right.
We hold down forts.
All right.
Yeah.
And we go to work.
Yep. That too, which is at home. So it's always in the fort. Yeah.
Are the forts as difficult to hold down now as they were back then when the kids were younger?
It's harder in different ways.
Yeah, it's different.
It's not like emotionally challenging. Now it's more like logistically challenging, getting them from all the places that they need to be. And having to do that alone is a bit much.
Marriage counseling on One Nation Under Whisky.
Yeah.
Oh, didn't you guys know that's what our podcast is about?
Sorry, thought you knew.
We're talking about the husbands being out of town and you two fending on the home front. What's your go-to meal for each of you when husbands are out of
He's
town?
setting me up.
This is really that's a wise question, Jason.
Right?
Yep.
Whatever Zevian cooks.
Will he cook for you guys?
He's started to.
Oh,
it's
that's
really
awesome.
nice. No, my go-to would be like nachos or cereal.
Yeah.
And you'll make a tray and layer it and then put it in the oven for a certain amount of time to let it all melt and all the flavors
All right, listen,
melt
Johnston.
together.
Listen. Seriously.
What's happening right now?
Right?
We're getting into it.
Oh, yeah. He's...
This is what your listeners want to hear.
Okay, so if we're really going to get into it, and Joshua, you may have to cut this out, the major contribution Jason makes to the family is cooking. So I have not had time to hone that skill because I'm too busy working and supporting and holding down forts and all this stuff. So I have not. So it's the one thing he has.
Let me just say, you're welcome. Heide?
What's your go-to?
Go-to meal. Dairy Queen blizzards are a popular dinner.
Kai and I have done that with French fries.
Yeah.
Oh
no,
you gotta get your veggies in there. You gotta get your veggies. I mean, I'm a good mom.
Vitamin C for everybody.
Oh my God. Yeah, we will eat fruit separately too, but yeah, That's definitely.
Is that it?
So let me ask you
I know
though.
French fries can be involved at times.
Sometimes there's French fries. Sometimes it's just a French fry and shake dinner.
So, do you get a discount?
No.
When you go to Dairy Queen?
We don't have the hookup that you guys have.
So now that our eldest works at Dairy Queen regularly, we get the discount. And so even when I take them out for a fancy dinner, it's cheap.
They're a cheap date. Mm-hmm. Nice.
Sometimes,
nice.
I mean, depends on who's working that day, but it's pretty good.
So should we move on to questions that you guys have for us?
Yeah, what's this about? I thought this was our podcast. Are you
sorry.
taking over our podcast?
Yeah.
Is this some sort of takeover?
Counter.
Counter.
So
and counter the counter.
Twist
Right?
on
What?
a twist.
You know,
It's like a mirror in a
interestingly enough,
Gasps in Spanish.
yeah, I love. Is that a real? Was that really on TV?
No idea. It's a terrific gift.
It's the best GIF. Have you seen it?
No.
I've sent it to you before.
I don't have time for those things.
Oh my gosh! It's just a woman gasping, and the subtitle
Gasps in
parentheses
Spanish.
says gasps in Spanish. It's fantastic. Anyway, so yeah, the interesting thing is our listeners
Your listeners.
seem to have heard about your podcast.
Oh, no. We have a podcast.
you've got a
Look how
podcast.
cute. They think, yes. Okay, go on, Joshua. Podcast. So adorable.
So our listeners have heard about your podcast. What was the name of it again?
I guess we never talked about that.
we need no title.
No.
We need no introduction.
Yes.
We need no title.
Yeah,
You're
what
like
she said.
Prince as a symbol now.
There you go.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
it.
And so they found out about your podcast and saw the connection, had questions for you guys.
Interesting.
So I'm going to start off with Ian Bruce. That's a name that comes up quite often, Jason.
Indeed.
Yeah, he's one of your peeps. He's a Glaswegian.
Good lad.
Yeah, good lad. So Ian Bruce writes and he says, Joshua, could you maybe ask your respective better halves in which industry would they like to create a company in or a podcast to you guys?
Oh, right. Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
Taking them globetrotting and see Jason and yourself hold down the forts.
That's a
Look
great
at that.
question.
That's a perfect question given how we opened the conversation.
Great question.
I don't know. Do people have hobbies and things that they turn into businesses?
Well, is there part of your expertise that you could turn into a side gig that would take you globetrotting?
You didn't hear her just take a total dig at us.
Straight over the top of it, Joshua. Not rising to the bait.
I honestly do not know.
Well, good stuff.
You don't have a hobby?
Grading?
This is what my children think my hobby is grading.
Is that what you do when you're at home? That's what you do in your fun
She's
free
so
time.
good at it. She's so good at it.
Like when they were little and they filled out those little, my mom is this age and,
And
whatever.
she does this.
Her favorite thing to do is grading.
Mommy loves grading.
Mommy is very good at work.
Yeah, I got the one that says, what does your daddy do? Drinks whiskey.
Yeah.
That was my job.
Kai said that to his teacher to her face. My dad doesn't really have a job. He just drinks whiskey all day. Mm-hmm. I think we talked about that one.
Yeah, we
did.
had to have some
Yeah.
conversations with teachers.
So, yeah, I don't know. Heide, I feel like you have a million and one ideas.
I
You'd be a
actually
person-
do have hobbies.
Yes.
I'm a little bit of a hardcore hobbyist. And I do lots of sewing and knitting and crafting. I do lots of crafting.
She is. You're crafty. You really are crafty.
I do crafty stuff. I generally always have some project going on, an embroidery project or knitting or some sewing thing. Or the last couple of weeks I did some needle felting.
That's true.
We don't need to turn this into my crafting.
But how would you turn that into something?
I have no idea
that would
how I
take
could
people up
monetize something like that and turn that into a...
Yeah, I think for me, it's the globe-trotting part that is throwing me, right? Because I would rather stay home. Like, I certainly love to travel here and there. but I don't want to
don't
go
need
traveling
to.
for business or that kind of thing.
Yeah.
No, I want to go because I want to go. And if I was to do anything, it would be gardening/farming, and that I have to stay home for. So
There you go.
That's the attribute. That's one aspect of Ian's question that I really liked the most was, here's Josh and I, we're in Scotland one week, we're in Kentucky another week. We once went to Jerez, Spain for 2 days. And people think, oh, that sounds amazing. That sounds wonderful. And I also really like my bed, and I like being in my bed, and I've got my CPAP, and I like not having to pack it up every 24 hours.
yeah, he's mostly excited to come home to his bed. He loves his bed so
I
much.
do love my
Same.
bed.
He really, really loves that bed.
And so that aspect of the globetrotting, I think, A, looks really awesome, B, is really awesome, and I don't want to downplay that, but it is a lot.
So for me, instead of having the globe trotting, I would prefer for you to hold down the fort while I'm in it.
Yeah, to not have to leave.
I don't
for
have
you
to leave.
Participate.
Maybe sometimes you and the boys leave. That would be good. But I want to be in it
Which
to
I do
eat
for-
your food
For the various
that you make.
listeners, I do take the boys away so you can enjoy time at home.
That is true. He has done that a few times. And
Clearly not enough, though.
no, never.
Then Tamara doesn't eat for 3 days.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm fine. I will eat my popcorn. But yeah, so just to not have to answer every single question and be the only one to tell them to get off their screens or whatever. Well, I'm in the garden. You hold down the fort, and I'll do my thing, and I'll invite them out occasionally, and then I'll send them back to you.
Bring them outside for chores, which they love.
I know. Unfortunately, the only
love
thing they ever do with their mom are chores, but it's fun for me.
Yeah.
Heide, the same aspect of that question. Do you like the look of getting out there, of doing those week upon week upon week travels?
No,
Or
I would never want to do that.
you too like
I'm totally a homebody.
the home base?
Yeah, I would never want to be like living on the road doing regular travel. Every once in a while, little drips and drabs is A-okay for me.
You used to go to Munich for a week out of every month. Was
For
that
like
something?
a year.
Oh my God.
No.
A week out of every month?
No, I went like 6 or 7 times. So
like
for,
a lot. Okay.
for a little while,
See, for Joshua, when you left for that little bit of time, it seemed like
it was like forever.
ages.
It really does. I'm not good alone. I'm not good I'm good traveling. Traveling with you, Jason, is wonderful.
Thank you.
It really is. But I really like being around you.
Yeah.
It's as
For
simple
the
as
listener,
that.
he was looking at Heide. when he said that. For the listener, he turned away from me, faced his wife, and had a
Jason.
very heartfelt sentence.
So,
Yeah, that was all for me.
So it's.
I miss you when I
that's
don't
difficult.
see you, Jason.
I don't remember what the question was.
Yeah, I don't know. I forgot. Where are we?
Yeah, that was the traveling part.
Yep.
Yeah, and so you
Yep.
too
So
would
no
like the
travel
home
for
base.
me. Very minimal travel for me. Staying at home and having time to chill out and watch like Below Deck and all that garbagey TV.
Oh my gosh, you love that crap.
I do, because I don't
I
have
also-
to pay very close attention to it. I can craft while I watch it and still basically follow what's going on.
I also just really like when Jason's home to feel like the team, right? It's not.
Oh,
just
it's
on
really
one.
nice to be
It's just
together.
more fun.
Yep.
It's more fun, and it's better food.
Yes.
And it's
Gourmet popcorn.
no, when you're there, it's better food because you're actually cooking something. But I can't remember where I was going with this. Crafting.
Home, being home team.
Oh, yeah. And so you were saying like, so you can just kind of do your thing. I also want to have him home so he can help me with some of my things.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah,
Like,
you don't
we
want
really-
to do everything on your own.
Right?
All
Like,
of your
hey,
own
come
stuff
help me in the
doesn't have to be
garden. I'd love
totally
to have your
solo.
company and your labor.
Yes.
So a bit like the boys, it's best when I'm home because I can do chores with you.
That seems nastiness. But
That's your takeaway?
All right, I think that's a perfect timing to go to another question.
Okay.
This one comes from Pablo Goldberg, who, Jason, you've met Pablo before. Mm-hmm. Wonderful guy. And he says, at what point, and this is for you both, and
Wives.
For you both wives, yes. And I think this question may have been asked before, but in the previous episode.
Okay.
But I think it's worth bringing up again. Let's see what your answers are compared to the last episode. So, at what point were you concerned about the number of bottles in the house?
Oh boy, we're in the right place for this question.
Yeah, we'll want to describe. I want to hear your description of the room we're in. And at what point were you like, well, maybe it's all worth it?
Did you get to that point?
I don't know if I've gotten there yet. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. Because
I didn't know that was a goal.
I don't know. I never got super. I don't feel like I ever got to a point where I was super concerned about it, because I'm a collector too of my own stuff, of craft supplies, and
It's true, people.
it's a little outrageous.
Listeners.
Like, I've got just bins and bins, and
lot of yarn.
much stuff, so much
Pilots would
yarn,
love it in
so
our
much
house.
stuff, yarn.
Yarn.
So I can understand the collector's mentality and the collecting. So that never really freaked me out. I mean, it is a lot. And I'm sitting in this room, and this is hilarious, because, I mean, it's so different than it is at my house, but it's the same in that I'm just in this space, just completely like surrounded by bottles of whiskey and, all things whiskey. It's funny.
I think that sums it up. Really, it is funny, right?
You know what's even funnier is this is after. I mean, I don't know if your fans know, but that we're shifting rooms a little bit.
Yep. We've talked about what's going into storage.
Yep, and so what we're surrounded by is a fraction.
Yeah.
Of what is normally in here.
Yeah.
And to me, it's just, it's almost obscene, but like obscene to like, this is so ridiculous. I just have to laugh.
Yeah. This is the room minus 243 bottles.
Yeah. And there's probably 243 bottles still in here, if not more.
Yeah.
It's just, anyway, he's at least starting to catalog it. So we know what the insurance policy is, should something happen to him.
Are you guys insured? I don't think
No. I'm
we're
saying,
not
like, if
insured.
something happens to him, that stuff is getting sold. Elijah, you're on notice. And so it is nice to have it kind of organized, but it's just, I think it's more the boxes. The boxes make me crazier, because at least I can shut off this room to my brain,
but
right?
the stuff that like gets out into the rest of the house.
Right. Like there's always either an empty box or a full box or both floating around in transition.
Yeah.
So I am a little bit worried about our room switching around, that until we get the FedEx guy to know where to go, stuff is going to go through our house. And now that you don't have your own room for it, it's going to stay.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. Whose room is this going to be? Zev? He wouldn't mind sharing a room with.
Jason has already said we have to. I know. No, he is. He is getting the closet. But he keeps trying to negotiate with Zev. Okay, how about you just give me half the closet? And Zev's like, no. So, I mean, as you all know, but maybe people who are listening don't know, Jason and I have the largest bedroom as the master bedroom. And then the other large bedroom is his office. And then both our boys are in the smallest bedroom in the house, crammed together in this one room. So it's time to move them.
All thanks to whiskey.
Yep. So we're slowly, very, very slowly making the transition to the outdoor office. And to be honest, I'm a little concerned he won't come back in the house.
I'd be worried about him like having some like little happy, cozy, safe place to be all the time that they never want to come back.
he can't move his bed, his beloved bed down there.
Right.
So at least I'll have that to entice him back. And then just I'll have the children outside. Dad, we're hungry.
There's also the toilet.
Yeah, there is no
In the
toilet
garden.
too.
Oh, yeah,
So
there's that.
eventually he'll have to.
Until I get my composting toilet installed, I will
That's
have
what
to come
the
in the
hole
house.
in the barn is.
That was the big tall bucket with the plank of wood across it. That's
Classy.
Yeah, that's why we have 3 doors to it and 2 windows, right? So you can air out
Yeah,
the
you
whole
need
place.
the circulation.
and
Yep.
all those candles.
Yep. So.
All right. Another question, and this is from another Scotsman.
Before we move on,
Oh, all right. Okay, go ahead.
given that question from Pablo,
Yeah.
was there a point at which you were concerned about the bottles coming into your house? And that was it, Joshua. I was looking at Joshua in asking that question.
He's just asking Heide that question again.
About my
seriously.
tequila.
Seriously. That's
You have to be very self-aware to assess
it's
that.
more in hindsight
Yeah, right.
than it is in the moment.
I would say that sometimes, like, every now and then you'll say, yeah, it is ridiculous, and I'm floored.
Oh, 100%. I've
Yeah.
in trying
It
to
surprises you that he can recognize that. Like,
Because I've spent so many years with him joking, like, oh no, I don't have enough. I mean, behind every joke, there's a little bit of truth. Like, there's always another bottle. But
well, in clearing this office for Zev and just realizing that I'm spinning on a hamster wheel, it's like, how did I get here?
So
isn't that what addicts say?
yeah, right. And so
Probably.
So
We'll
my
get you help,
question
baby.
for you, and I apologize, ladies, this is going to be a very dorky question.
here we go.
But
Would you expect anything less?
as you are collecting more and more bottles, I look at this room and nearly every bottle is open.
Mm-hmm.
Are you collecting them because you're after flavors and just seeking out more, or you found distilleries that you really are very interested in and just
He said,
specifically
looking
want
at my
exactly, looking at your
shelf.
Lechig, but also looking at your iron shelf
I
and
don't.
so
You
on.
want to go for a walk? Should we?
And so what is it? Is it just that
Yeah, I think they need
flavor?
a minute.
You're like, I gotta taste this next cask. I gotta try this.
I think it's what both you and I were guilty of, and that many whiskey people who occupy the same niche as us, the problem niche, it was the latest release from whatever distillery. And it was, you've got to get your hands on that latest release. You got to keep up with the flavors coming out there. You got to be able to talk about this within context of other distilleries. That
Do you? Do you really?
But that speaks to the stage we're in right now of the clearing of the office. Is every single unopened bottle is now in storage.
Yeah.
And it's bottles that are 80% full, 90% full, that you can't just stick them into storage, nor can you have a quick party with your biggest dork friends and finish those bottles. It's
You
just...
could put a pretty good dent in them, though.
Well, but then what do you do, right? Then you're just opening them up to oxygen, right? Then you're
my
in
God.
then you're in another race.
Well, you don't give them as many options, right? So you have to give them limited options so they drain those.
Yep.
Right? And then limited options so they drain those. You can't just give them a ton or else you know we're
Yeah, you can't just
forward.
open the door and just send everybody.
And that's where we're at.
Have at it.
Yeah, it was adding mezcal to it and adding rum to it.
Yeah.
That it really went off
So
the rails.
basically, he's telling me I should have put my foot down years ago.
I wish you could have helped me.
No, there was no way. No way I would have told you that. No, I mean, Heidi, would you ever have told Joshua, no more whiskey coming into the house? Have you ever said that to him?
I don't think I've ever actually said that.
No,
'cause-
me neither.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, I've said it in jest, like, we're done. But
Behind
I've-
every
It's been
joke.
boiling for years, but she's never said
for
it.
years.
I
Yes.
wish you could help
It's
me.
been just
so are you trying to say this is
simmering.
my fault?
That was cute. That was a cute
But
little
if anyone's to
switcheroo.
blame here, I think
Do you
it's
see that? Like, I almost
Yeah.
let it go.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
That was artwork,
Dude,
Jason.
This
artwork.
is philosophy training 101. Like, this is all rhetoric. I know what to say. Anyway, so there was no point at which you were worried, or you had a coming to the whiskey gods moment when you were like, I gotta get off this train. This has gone a bit bonkers.
And to be clear, you're not talking about giving up whiskey. You're just talking about getting bottles in.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
the
you're not
latter,
like
the
saying,
latter.
is there a time that you thought you had a problem and you had to cut out whiskey from your life?
No.
God,
I know your fans would know that. I just wanted to clarify for ours.
And let me say once more, no.
No, not at all. It actually, early on, that was a fear
We
of
did talk
mine.
about that during the pandemic.
Yeah,
What
right.
was?
The idea of addiction, just because it's there's a bit of it in my family, so that was always scary for me. But if I'm upset, the last thing I want to be doing is drinking. So it was never the addiction to the liquid. It was more the addiction to what Jason was referring to as like, oh, here's the next release coming out, or so-and-so is releasing another cask of Imperial or something like that. For me, it was that special edition, or it's that favorite distillery. Mm-hmm. And I was getting to a point where I just stopped buying, not for any particular reason. But then, like I said, in hindsight, I look back and I was just getting more and more bottles. So yeah, it is hindsight for me. Never at any point did I feel as if I should be stopping. I just sort of slowed down, and then I stopped buying. And then I would look at auction sites or something like that.
Just get your fix, man. Just get your fix.
Well, I'd say, I haven't gotten anything from an auction in a while. There's a bottle I want. I don't think I'll get it.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice. At this point, the four of us group hug, because I feel like we've really made a breakthrough.
Oh, dear.
All right. All right.
So you're suggesting we should just empty all these bottles then? Is that the breakthrough we're having?
Oh my
Straight
Empty
into the
them in
mouth.
what way? Prohibition? Empty them down the drain? Or
No, we'll
empty
use them
down
for
our
like
throat?
fire or something.
No, but it is one of the conversations that I've had, and I'm sure Joshua's had with other whiskey fans and friends, is we have a hobby that you can't throw yourself into the consumption of 100% because it's very bad for your health.
Yes.
And so I look around these open bottles and I think, gosh, I should be drinking these more. But that's not good for my health.
Right.
Right? That's not a good thing to do. So you drink them a wee bitty. But then they don't go anywhere, and then you buy some more to go on top, which is this part we're talking about. Stop looking around the office. This is more time than you've spent in this office.
I know. I try not to be in here too much, but I can understand the bottles to a certain extent, but I don't even know what you're going to do with all the sample bottles, Heide. The sample bottles.
Samples are.
I mean, do you know there's
It's
a
a bit
bookshelf
much.
right behind where Joshua and Heide are sitting right now, and it's just looks like a table, like a console table behind a couch, but it's actually a bookshelf that is filled with sample bottles.
No, those aren't sample
down
bottles.
below.
Down below.
Oh, down below.
Right, they're
okay.
it's like a deep
I'll let you
cube
use the mezcal.
type shelf, and
Yeah.
it's just, and so like, what do you
that's
even do with
cute.
those?
Have you seen the one in the closet?
I do not want to see the one in the closet, but yes, I have. That's Zevian needs his closet. You're going to have to do that.
As you transition to the next question, I just want to tell the listeners that I'm drinking a single cask nation Glenburgie 20-year-old in honour of the Nolans.
What the fuck just happened?
I just asked a question, and you just decided to move on.
What was your question?
What are you going to do with all the sample bottles? Like, how is
I thought
that
it was
stored?
rhetorical.
No. Like, how do you actually?
That wasn't rhetorical.
Like, are you going to catalog those? Do you even know what they all are? I mean,
Do you want to know how many infinity bottles I have? So
What's an
infinity
infinity
bottles are
bottle?
what you make from your collection of samples.
Oh.
So I've been pouring samples into ostensibly empty bottles to make unique blends.
Sure.
I've got 6 infinity bottles.
Yep.
you have not made a dent.
I've got 6 infinity bottles. The other thing with the samples is being able to pull out a sample from 12 years ago when we were selecting our first round
Yeah.
of bottlings.
This is going to, I can totally tell this is going to sound like a.
Yeah, this is going to sound really dumb. You're not going to like what I'm about to say.
No, probably not.
Can't wait.
I can pull out the samples that we rejected because those were never consumed. They were never used for writing up notes. They were never used as things we revisited while we waited on the bottles coming in.
Right.
And so I still have a lot of those things from a dozen years ago.
I feel like the things that he wants to throw out yet keeps is a sign of a hoarder.
No,
I do worry.
No, I did an event maybe 3 years back. This is when we bottled the Pappy Nonsense, and I had 18 people, 20 people come up to our headquarters, which is Chemo's office on Route 1. And the taste, so part of the tasting was we were going to figure out what this Pappy Nonsense would be. And then part of it was showing people samples that we said no to next to things that we said yes to and why we said no. So I think there's value in holding some of these.
So when somebody writes your biographies, you can pull those out.
Yeah, the biography of the company, I think. Yeah.
The biographer of the company. Gotcha.
All right.
I can't believe that was a real question. I swear to you, I thought that was a rhetorical question. What do we do with these samples?
I mean, at least they can close and be stored sideways.
Oh, no.
No. Sorry. No.
Sideways?
So
Tamara.
but they're screw caps,
Tamara.
the sample bottle. So I thought maybe they could be.
Shoe boxes upon shoe boxes of samples.
Is that why you buy so many shoes?
Okay. So we got a question from Dr. Matt Bishop.
Was that Badoom Shoe?
Oh, Jason. Badoom shoo. So this is from Dr. Matt Bishop, another Scotsman. Dear husbands, I recently had the amazing pleasure in meeting Jess at the recent Glasgow's Whiskey Festival, where she poured me a fantastic sample of the Accidental Deluane. That was, I love this next sentence here. That was my first dram at my first ever whiskey festival.
Oh, wow.
A great start. How cool is that?
Yeah.
He goes on. There were many women ambassadors at the festival, probably more women than men. And yet the audience was, at my estimation, 99.9% men.
Wow, really? That much? Really?
In his estimation, and he is a doctor.
Oh, wow.
Is that your experience of these festivals?
Hold on.
Okay,
He's not
sorry,
done. He's not done.
Okay.
Is he going to say how they were all white, too?
Well,
it was
in
Glasgow.
Scotland, I mean...
Yeah, only... Yep, okay, go on.
I'm sure there's gradations of white.
White, really white, pale blue.
And then there's white, really white. Okay.
Well, presumably not just Glaswegians are there.
Right.
Predominantly.
It got
Really?
so bad it's titanium white, which
geez.
Bob Ross fans will know about. So anyway, it continues, or he continues. My question to Tamara and Heide is...
Hey.
How would they feel if they had to represent Single Cask Nation at a whiskey festival surrounded by loud and slightly drunk middle-aged men? And then I'm just going to... And then
For the record, Tamara's laughing and Heide looks like a deer in headlights.
Nope. That'd be a hard pass. It would not ever.
But let's say it had to happen.
Okay.
Like in no universe is that
Tamara,
ever
it
going to
would be
happen
really
or even be
bad.
an
Let's
option.
just say it would be
we know from
bad if
quantum
that had
science
to
that
happen.
there is a universe where this happens.
Anything that could
No,
happen
I'm pretty
does
sure that's how
happen.
strongly we feel about it. No universe.
So say you were invited.
You would not be in safe hands with me. I'll tell you that. And I apologize in advance if this ever actually happens and I have to represent your company.
What's your pitch?
My pitch is, hey, there's some good booze here, right?
That's a great start. That's a terrific start.
I feel like, well,
Right,
and then I'd
guys?
come in but like, I don't drink booze.
But
if I did,
I would totally drink this. It's
no,
so
I
good,
wouldn't. Yes,
you guys.
no, never. No, I wouldn't. This one's lighter than that one.
Look at
This
the
one is
different
dark.
colors. Ooh.
And the labels different. So different.
There's so much difference and yet similarity.
So much sameness. I mean, it's different yet so samey.
It's really something. So you can see that let's hope that we're never in a position where we have to represent your company.
So glad we've got Jess working there.
Yeah.
Over in Glasgow.
So are we.
Europe.
So are we.
But let's focus really quickly on the drunken male to female ratio here.
Oh, at those shows?
You know what I mean? And you're dealing, that's what you're dealing with. That's what Jess is dealing with.
Well, there should be protections in place for that kind of thing. So what have you done for Jess? I turn that question to you. What have you done to Jess to make sure that she's in a safe working environment?
We have empowered her to not attend any event she does not want to attend.
Awesome.
We've empowered her to remove herself from any event that is not making her feel safe or adequate or appreciated. To her great credit as well, is she can handle that crowd. And
I have no doubt.
And invariably when we're breaking down festivals or tastings that she's been at where she's hosted, the questions have been, how were the questions you were asked? And she did say from a previous Glasgow's Whiskey Fest, she was pouring with Christopher Hallstrom, Swede Scott, and Dor, a good Israeli friend. And so it's two ostensibly white males and Jess. And the questions would invariably go to the two men. And they would then turn them back towards Jess and say, no, that's the person there that you asked the questions of. Go. That's who's answering the questions. Like, happy to nerd out with you, happy to geek out with you, but don't bypass the person representing the company to speak to us. And so, there's another moment there where it's all of us working together to overcome certain assumptions that are being made.
Which is fantastic. But at another level, it has to be more industry-wide, right? So you're just one company who's empowering their one female employee. And so in my field, in wildlife and biology in general, and like conferences and stuff, there's been a huge reckoning about what happens at conferences, professional conferences, because there's always going to be alcohol involved there. People are letting loose. They've known each other academically or scientifically, through that community, and then they get to see each other in person. And there's a lot of room for harassment and worse. And so there's been a big push for conduct codes and code of ethics and stuff being front and center, and all conferences and sub-conferences all following these same policies. Are you seeing the same thing in the whiskey industry, or is it not there yet? Like for example, like would if something were to come to light that had happened, would there be a recourse? And if not, would the companies that you are associated with, the people you're associated with, they like say, okay, we're not going to that place again until something is done? Or are you at that stage? It took a long time for wildlife to get to that point because it's also a very male dominated field. So maybe that your industry's not there yet. I'm just curious.
I would think that potentially for us, there's nothing necessarily industry-wide that's connecting us. So you're talking about an association of biologists,
right?
That's coming up with a rule book of sorts. We don't necessarily have that. The SWA, Scotch Whisky Association, is overseeing the industry writ large when it comes to export and when it comes to the spirit in the bottle. Yeah. And I think it's left to the individual companies to oversee safeguards and safe measures.
But as guests at different places, that's very difficult.
You better believe if there was a festival that got known for being problematic, brands would pull out of there. And I think to the question being asked here by Dr. Matt is, I think when you're hearing that many women fronting brands, you better believe they're being heard by decision makers within their companies as well. Now, there's nothing written in black and white that's overseeing all of that. We are still in an anecdotal stage of this where it's, it sounds like if you talk to that person fronting that brand, they're supported by their company in this particular way. This other one is supporting in that particular way. So we're hearing more of that. Whereas as recently as 10 years ago, and we've talked about this on the podcast, it would only be the dolly birds, right? The glamour models who were the only women in the room.
I was about to ask.
Right?
That, yep.
Pouring booze. Now you've got female representatives of brands who are not suffering fools gladly. That's an excellent development in a decade.
It is an excellent development, but whiskey is still sold on sex, on sexy, be it, male.
We have the same problem in
guys,
wildlife.
Right?
I understand.
Right, you get it. And that's
You too, Heide, analyst.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Business analysis, software development.
It's all about the sex.
Sure.
that's a bit of
Sexy.
the culture that I would like to see go away. Right? That's why we had the Jubilee the way it was. No dolly birds.
So when you
Well, even if you're calling them dolly birds, like you should say women who are hired to.
Well, that's the idea of they were brought in as dolly birds.
Yeah.
Right. And so
They're brought in as
That's why
as
I'm
eye
feeling-
candy, as pretty women or handsome
that's
men.
why I also use the
Support.
language of glamour models, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think glamour models quite captures the idea of the dolly bird, right?
Gotcha.
That kind of misuse of a woman behind a table.
Right. So anyway, it's great that you empower Jess. I hope that she's never in a situation where she needs to feel she can do that. And I would expect nothing less of you all to back her up if she ever needed additional assistance, because sometimes it's hard for the person who's the target of it to be the one to make the stand. But I have no doubt you two would make a stand yourselves.
Yeah. No, I think Jess knows that she has a receptive audience in us to bring anything to that to light.
That's
100%.
good.
Good. All right, we have.
Let me just throw one more
go ahead.
leaf on that branch.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Is I think you're looking at, Dr. Matt's question there, where you've got this representation of women behind tables, and Jess and I have talked often about gatekeeping and who gets to invite who to the party, and my hope is that as you see more female representation at the table, then more women want to come to that party.
Yes.
They want
Yes.
to be in that room. But you can't make women buy tickets to come. They have to hear that it is receptive.
Right,
It is a welcoming place.
But I think that the women being brought in to be behind the table still has to go above and beyond hiring talent. Right? Right?
100%.
I just
Yeah, that's not
want
my
to make
point.
that
Yeah, that's
very,
not my point.
very clear.
Yeah, no. I'm saying if you've got knowledgeable women behind tables talking about whiskey and brands, the hope is that we can start to dilute the 99.9% white male attendance.
It might, but you also have to be aware that it's not the people behind the table necessarily that women are trying to navigate. It's the people that you have no control over. You have no control over the guests, right?
Yep, great
and
point.
it's not so having women behind the table, sure, that could help. It's not going to help until you create a space that is completely safe for them. So maybe for a while it's women only, right? You've had some of those groups, right?
So, yeah.
Right. So you have women only so they can have a safe space to gain the knowledge to be able to, or show their knowledge if they're new to it, right? Somebody, even if I did drink and I was like, okay, I'm going to get interested in whiskey. I don't know. That's some parallel universe, right? I'm not going to go into a whiskey festival where I am one of the few women and I don't know enough about it. I mean, that to me makes me a target for so many things, right? And I'm not going to go. So it has nothing to do with just being behind the table. Certainly I'd be like, oh, okay, this is cool that they have, some diversity behind the table, but I'm still not walking in that room.
Well, there's a group here in the U.S. I don't know if there's any representation outside the U.S., but a group called Women Who Whiskey, and it's in many major cities, and I've presented for Women Who Whiskey, and it's just that, and it's that nice comfortable space that you're talking about. And it's gotten big. It's gotten so big that I'm going to put my Impex hat on for a second. Import whiskey from Penderyn Distillery, and Penderyn has an all-female production team. So they did a special bottling that had the Women Who Whiskey branding on it. Which cool. I think really helps to bring in that component, or make it a bit more comfortable, more welcoming.
Yeah. I think, though, you'll see real change when you see an industry top-down.
Yes.
Right? Because I'm sure everybody would agree with everything that you're saying and that we're saying in here. But those changes don't really get ingrained into the culture until they go through that top down for a while.
And that's what I meant before when I was saying the people behind the tables, right? From the brand that are female. Mm-hmm. So we've got another question that came in from our beloved Bonnie Nolan, which is why, and this is why before, Jason, you were talking about the Glenbergie. Am I correct on this?
That is correct.
So you've poured your Glenbergie for the Nolans, and we got a question in from Bonnie Nolan. And it says, so it came in from Michael, and he says, so Bonnie's question for Tamara and Heide for the podcast is, do their husbands abandon them as soon as they are together with open whiskey? It seems to happen on this end.
Seems like the perfect time for this question. So.
That's cute.
Uh-huh.
I mean, you guys definitely...
When it's us, you mean, or just like anybody who's a whiskey file comes into... When you two get together? Because I would say it's a different answer.
Is it a different answer?
Yeah.
Okay. Give us both.
Okay, so go ahead, Heide.
Well, I was just going to say, I think you guys do get a little geeky together, but you're also good at being inclusive conversationally, and you don't totally get sucked into like your little whiskey universe.
There tends to be a time, though, that you
I
duck
check out. Yeah, with like certain like,
but that's not
you guys start
thing,
getting like real geeky. I'm just like, I'm just kind of done with this conversation.
Well, we even saw it today. Like there's a lull in the conversation, and they happen to be dramming on something, right? And there's a lull in the conversation. And then all of a sudden they look at each other and say, like, it's like we're still in a group of people, but it's very pointed at each other.
Yes.
Jason, what do you think about this, the blah, 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 that we're drinking here? And then we all just kind of sit there and wait for them to finish, and then we go on. Or we start our own side conversation and let them go. But I mean, it's usually just dipping in and out, but it is a very non sequitur kind of... Yeah. Nobody's talking right now, so this is the perfect time for me to ask Jason a very pointed question about something only he and I are involved in.
You know what's so funny is when you said, what do you think about this whiskey? It sounds a lot like the Bunnahabhain that you just poured for me. So we've got our Bunnahabhain
set you
28.
up, and you just that's awesome. I see.
So that's when it's us. What is it when it's?
I was going to say in general. I mean, just because when our families are together, it's family. So it's not like it's just the two couples. And so, and I still don't. I mean. I enjoy your company. I assume you enjoy mine, and Heide and Jason get along well. So it's not like...
Hi, Heides.
Like Heide and I were brought together because of you two, but it's not like we don't have a relationship on our own, and each of us have a relationship. So it's not like, how soon can we get away and start talking about whiskey, right? I assume you guys enjoy the company of us and our children all as one, right?
Jason, when can you and I...
You're so funny. But I think but I think you guys live it and talk to each other so much that it's fun for you to be able to do that, but I don't think it's necessary. It's not like you haven't seen each other in ages, whereas Jason certainly can. Somebody who has a little less knowledge or doesn't have the same experience as him, then it goes kind of off because the person is just so like enthralled in the idea or what he has to offer or what he's talking about, that then that's when my eyes glaze over and I'm like, oh, we're going to be here for a while. I'm going to just exit. Or when, he's like, oh, just try this and this. And people have interesting questions for him that I've heard the answer to like 1,000 times. I don't need to be around for that.
She mouths it as he's saying it.
Yeah.
She's mouthing. Boona Haben, 28 years old.
So
She could represent Single Cast Nation much better than she lets on earlier.
Yes,
in
but
this
what I want
interview.
to, what I want to.
Yeah.
No, I do mention your company a lot to people and give them the very basics and then send them your way. So I think when it's the four of us and families, no, you don't squirrel away.
Yeah.
I think it can happen when it's somebody else. I just think you two are just so in it that you don't.
Yeah, that almost we can do from
out.
a break. Break from it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. They don't feel the need to talk about it 24/7 because you have it 24/7 and we don't get to see each other often and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But if it's somebody who's local who, comes over and hangs out and then you get to the whiskey portion of the evening or whatever, I'm like, all right, I'm out. Right. Because
And
then
now
it does,
for the
because
whiskey portion
I've
of the
sat
evening.
through so many of those just because people are interested.
Yeah.
Right. It's not like he's sitting there boring them to tears, and they're like, get me out of here or let me talk about something else. Like they're the ones that are driving the conversation, which is great, but I don't need to be there.
There's no whiskey safe words.
It's usually a signal of like, cut it out. So, but I think that threshold is definitely much lower for the kids. Your kids just check out when it starts turning around to.
Oh, they're kind of checked out a lot.
See, our boys want to hang with the grown-ups, but then when it gets to something like that, it's just let's go.
Yeah,
Really? Ours, I don't know that our kids necessarily gravitate toward adults. Like, if our friends are hanging out, I don't think that our kids are more apt to want to hang out with us.
There's more interesting things happening on TikTok.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, no, like Deb will come home and see there's a car in the driveway and be like, yes, we have company.
What's going on?
What grown up came to see me
'cause he's the
today?
mayor. Yeah, he's totally the mayor.
Just work in the room.
Absolutely. And he's, of all the kids, he's the one that will talk whiskey with me and ask me questions about what's on the shelves and what have you brought in and what are you releasing. And I have no idea.
Like, please, Daddy, love me.
Yeah, right. I have no idea if he really has any interest in any of the answers, but he knows his dad will pay 100% attention to him if he asks whiskey questions of me.
Wow. Yeah, my kids
funny.
don't really ask.
No.
Mimi used to. Years ago at the old house, she had passing questions, but maybe it was 2 questions. I don't know. Maybe
You were so excited. You just blew it up in your brain.
Sat her down for 2 hours.
So listen, kid.
So do you see it in your house, Heide, of a night if friends come over, will Joshua isolate one of the whiskey interested folk and disappear, or
No, he actually really doesn't like to get into whiskey talk. If it's like with our friends or our family, he gets very twitchy when people start asking him about work and about whiskey. He doesn't want to have to talk about it. He'd rather talk about other stuff. He'd rather talk about music.
Fucking anything else.
Anything
else.
Yeah, he really.
I think your fans would be like shocked to hear that. They're like, no, that's what they love to talk
it's
about
funny,
whiskey.
and I have to remind him like what you do is actually super cool, and you have some really cool life experiences that you like that make for good conversation. And it's totally fine for people to want to like ask you about that and hear about that stuff. So fucking suck it up, Buttercup.
You live the life, enjoy it. So I don't know. Do your folks? I mean, we've certainly mentioned little bits here and there. Do they even know what? Like I think Mimi asked, like, do you talk about us on the podcast? Like, what do they know of your family? Do they know what our careers are? Do they know what our sports our kids are into, or activities our kids are into, that kind of thing?
His listeners, they're
listening. I mean, ours do, because we're good
Obviously,
moms.
they know
I mean,
everything about
right?
noise.
Where it goes without saying. I'm just curious, what do 2 fellas with their own podcasts who love to interact with each other for hours and talk about whiskey? Do you ever?
Yeah,
I mean, you're isolating yourself in your little podcast there. Like, do you ever bring in the outside world? In the people who matter to you instead of the whiskey?
Okay, so
See what I mean?
I talk about Heide all the time, and we do commercials together, which is fun. On another, we do commercials for another podcast. Shh, I'm not cheating on us, Jason.
I didn't know this.
They're very cute.
They're very cute. But I've never explained what Heide does because I don't really know how to explain what the fuck it is you do. Mm-hmm. She works for a company
Get started.
that makes software that that does patent and trademark searches.
Yeah.
So if you are a patent and trademark lawyer, you would use this tool to search out, is someone impinging on a patent or trademark? Or if you're like a company like Michelin Tire or Meineke or whoever, I think it's Michelin, right? Michelin.
They didn't pay for this product placement.
That if they want to make a new tire, right? They have a design, they want to make sure they're not, impinging on someone else's design, infringing. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you.
Right. So that's your job. You work at a company that makes that product, and you oversee project managers, product managers, and UI.
This is so cute watching these two.
UI teams.
Right? And you use Jira.
I knew you were going to say Jira. I knew you were going to throw Jira in there.
I love that Heide's not correcting him at all, and I'm just
waiting
waiting to find out how because it all sounds good, and she's just smiling through all of it. But I'm like, she's so much smarter than me. I would be totally interrupting.
Oh, no, I just want to let it play out.
All that smiling seemed encouraging. Do I have it right?
Right? I thought she was encouraging you.
I have it right. Did you ever do that?
I sort of do that. I manage a team of business analysts, and the company that I work for does produce software. We manufacture software for patent searching.
All Joshua's hearing is I was 100% correct.
Yeah, I work. My colleagues are product managers and project managers and UI staff.
So what did I get wrong then?
Well, I don't manage them. They don't work for me, but I manage a team of business analysts, and our responsibility is to be kind of the glue between the business and the technology sides of the organization.
Okay.
So we understand things at a technical level, a little bit more of a technical level than the product managers do. So when they have ideas of what they want to build in the software.
Prepare to fast forward!
Preparing to fast forward.
Fast forward!
Fast forwarding, sir.
We have the ability to communicate it to the technology team in a way that'll get them to build what the product managers want.
And that's
what my
your
team
title.
does.
Your translator.
That's your
my
title
title.
on your business card.
It's a little wordy. I'm not going to lie.
Our business card is an A4 piece of paper, but that's okay.
So Heide,
That's
where
okay.
did you? Is this something you fell into? Did you go to school for
totally.
this?
No. I was a history of art major, and then I ended up working for a company doing sort of customer service, and it was this company 27 years ago.
And here we are. Wow.
Yeah, and
I can't believe you started work at 9.
I know. I was so young. And
I'm robbing the cradle.
yep.
Look at that big smile on his face.
Cute. And I just sort of worked in different positions in the company and had
A few minutes later.
good manager that mentored me for a long time and kind of got me trained in some different technical areas.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
All right. So Heide, that's quite the position.
So, Heide, you stopped talking, thank God.
Like on SpongeBob,
Can we be-
45 minutes later.
Can we be done with that now, please? Okay.
It was great hearing the history back to 1972, though. That
I
was...
can't believe what happened that one time at band camp, though. That is
Just one
remarkable.
time at band camp.
Remarkable part
But
of the
we
story.
will, just us and all the fans will hear
Oh my
that.
gosh.
That's in the director's cut
Oh, right.
of this episode. I did have a sentence or two.
Oh, yeah.
to throw in
That's right,
relation, so.
because we needed to hear... Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm not going to describe your job. As far as the podcast is concerned, I certainly contextualize my life, through you and through the boys and the things that we do together and the things that we do separately. But I'm also aware of your private life and the boys' private lives.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't witter on endlessly about what you're all doing and up
When you're
to.
famous, you have to be worried about that, right? Don't you? So when you
I
have
don't
such
need
a
people
fan
stalking
base,
my kids, baby.
Yeah,
I'll be honest with you.
okay.
I don't need whiskey
sense.
geeks stalking my kids.
I respect that.
Yeah. You got any Bunavin 28-year-old? You got any Bunavin 28-year-old?
Yeah,
Did you
I-
get some from your dad?
I should have been clear when I said I mention you a lot. It's not as if, and her social security number is.
Yeah, I figured that.
But and we've talked about this on the podcast. I don't know if we talked about it when the four of us were doing the last episode together, but I've had people approach me at whiskey festivals and ask about my brother, right? Oh, what's the latest with your
Oh,
brother?
really?
Yeah.
Because I've said things about Murray on the podcast.
Oh, gosh, I bet he loves that so much. That's not sarcasm. I bet he loves that.
Sounds kind of sarcastic.
I know. That's why he said that, because it did sound
Even saying
sarcastic.
it sounded
But no, I
sarcastic.
just think Murray's probably just
He would
loving
love that.
He would love that.
I'm not sure he does, but here we are.
Really?
And so it was kind
Well,
of
I
weird.
guess I don't know what you're saying about him.
So it's kind of weird to have that moment at a festival where, I've shared something and then that's come back to me. And I've thought in the moment, like, how do you know that about my brother?
Yeah.
Like, do you know my brother? And then I've thought, oh, I shared that about my brother. Okay, it's back at my doorstep again. Okay. But I think that's been part of the aspects of enjoying the podcast is our listeners do know about us. They do know a bit about our families. They do know a bit about our extended families. And that's been nice. And sometimes when our listeners write in, they'll tell us a bit about their families.
Yeah.
You know,
I
like
really
Dan
like
Gryson
that.
talked about his
Yeah.
daughter.
Yeah.
I want to say our guys in New Zealand shared bits and bobs. I'm not sure what I'm even remembering there myself.
Who?
But
Colin pluralized mares?
yeah, and then I'm not even sure what I'm actually remembering right now. But you've had those stories come back from people as well, and that's kind of fun and adds to the overall experience. It's not just one-way traffic. The chap who'd written in earlier this year about the Christmas gift, and that took on a bit of a life of its own, and our listeners started jumping in on that part, and we were talking about his family and his gift giving. It's
And how it went
I have no
down.
idea what you're talking about.
received.
Yeah, I haven't
So-
told you about this.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Me either.
Right, so there was a lot there. So there is back and forth without,
Yeah, it's like a...
giving up a bunch of details.
Exactly. But I do like what you're saying, that we get to hear about our listeners and their lives a bit, which I really like.
Yeah, absolutely.
There was one other question that came in,
Okay.
and then I think we need to wrap it up after that.
Sure.
Apparently,
And
the
this is
kids
from-
need to be fed
Yeah,
again.
talking about these kids, gosh.
Just hear voices.
So this came in from Seth Wade, and he
Cheers,
says...
Seth.
Yeah, cheers, Seth. He says, got any advice on what to do about storage when you fill the shelves? Instead of sitting on bottles on the floor,
They don't make good seats. I will tell you that. Do not sit on bottles on the floor.
we may have rearranged the furniture in 4 rooms to put in more shelves for my office. For my office, yeah. So, wives.
This is for us, our advice.
Yeah, this is.
Oh, I'm not sure. Don't
And
ask questions you don't want to hear the answer
just
to.
Think about, Tamara, before you answer, just think about how it may affect our business. Just think about that.
If we're talking the level that you fellas are at with the sprawl, it may affect your business. But I don't know that everybody has the same sprawl that you have.
Seth is talking multi-rooms here. Neither you nor I have multi-rooms.
Oh, because
but
we
you
shut that
literally
shit
have-
down early.
But you have one room that is all
Yours.
shelving, all whiskey.
It is all yours.
Presumably, these guys don't have like a dedicated room, and they're just trying to make space for it all over their house.
Nor have they put their children in the smallest room in the house.
I honestly
That's my
believe
advice.
that there are people, far more people than us, that have a far larger
Collection than you do.
than we do. Yep.
It's possible. But anyway,
Anyway.
our advice.
Stop buying.
Stop buying. Just stop buying.
Or just
stop.
stick to single cast nation. Maybe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll work.
SCN all the
That'll
way.
work. Yep. Unless it's SCN. Stop buying. Unless it's SCN or J&J Spirits.
There you go.
So how do you get us out of your podcast?
I don't remember what we did.
It's tough to say. Yeah, I don't quite recall.
The crowds are begging for another clip.
Oh, well, of course we're going to say that.
begging.
Oh, okay.
Right? Of course
They're
we say
begging.
that. But you want to end us and then we'll... Thank you
I
for...
don't know how to...
Okay,
Clip on
so
out of
thank
here.
you everyone for joining us for this reboot of Spousal Takeover edition. Is that what it was called?
Yeah, sure. Yes, it's spousal takeover.
So thank you for joining us with the second spousal takeover, and we wish you well for the holiday season. Hope you had as many things to be thankful for as we did yesterday, and we will see you next time we have these two whiskey files on. Maybe 2 more years with no pandemics. Yeah.
Yes, no
All right. Cheers, Heide.
Cheers, Tamara.
Click, click.
Click, click.
Hi, my name's Kai. My dad is Jason. He's the tall one. And I am 15.
They don't know what your dad looks like.
Yeah, they
Okay,
do.
I'll go next. Hello, my name is Mimi. My dad is Joshua, and I am 14. Hello, my name is Mimi. My dad is Joshua, and I am 14.
You didn't have to repeat it.
It's off to a great start, am I right?
Hello, my name is Thelma. My dad is Joshua, and I'm 16.
Hello, my name's Zev. I'm the youngest, and my dad's Jason, and I'm 12. And I'm the best.
No, you're not.
That's debatable.
He is. Okay.
What's the I don't really know. I don't know what to say.
No. Because, like,
Is
Do
there
you
too
agree-
much
do you
whiskey
agree-
in your house? There's a lot
there's
of
a
whiskey
lot
in our
of
house.
whiskey.
In fact,
Yeah.
our basement where we
it's
do
covered in just, like, there's randomly just, like, bottles.
where we do our laundry, next to our laundry, there's just a lot of
I thought you meant the
whiskey.
garage, but also, that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got a ton here, and then we've got a ton. We've got like how many boxes of?
Too many.
Yeah, we've got too many boxes of whiskey under the house in our crawl space.
Under the house.
So
It's just so then we can get rid of all of this clutter.
I
Dad
don't
has
think the
got
viewers can see the clutter.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He's got 8 almost floor to ceiling shelves filled with whiskey.
And
They'd
some on
probably
the
be
ground.
about 6 inches by 18 inches, maybe.
Are you guys night walkers, sleepwalkers?
How do we go from shelves to are you guys night walkers or
No,
sleepwalkers?
this is topic. If you're sleepwalking and you crave milk and you go for a bottle, this is where a lot of the bottles are. Have you ever found yourself sleepwalking into here thinking it's milk?
No.
No.
Because I know I have.
I've seen it.
Wait, what? You actually did that?
We aren't going to get
Sleepwalked
too
into
deep
it,
into it.
drank
Just
it
like
all,
you
thought
ate
it was milk.
cat poop?
By accident.
Okay, whiskey questions.
That was a whiskey
Yeah.
question. Do you guys like whenever he's in tastings? Is he loud? Is he like?
He's loud and then he gets mad at us
He's
when
just
we're
he
loud.
goes, guys, I'm on a call right now. When we're just talking, like we're just like in the kitchen talking.
Yeah, and then he gives us like an hour's notice too. He's like, in an hour I'll be in a call, so you need to be quiet. It's kind of
Yeah. Dad's pretty chill about. Yeah, about that. Dad's pretty chill about it. It's just that our bedroom is right below his office, so sometimes when we're trying to sleep, he'll be in a tasting, and we can just. And I used to be on the top bunk, so I would hear every word. So I learned a lot about whiskey.
Top bunk is the better bunk.
Are you guys tired of having whiskey everywhere?
I don't mind it. Like we've definitely like. I like to collect. Like my room's very cluttered, but it's not like it'd be less cluttered without whiskey around.
That didn't make any sense.
correlate with the question at all.
No.
Potatoes.
potato.
Potato.
So like it takes up space, but it's not my space, so I don't care.
Like there's whiskey in your room?
No.
No.
She just said.
She's relating the
so
whole-
that's why I don't care.
She's yeah.
Yeah. If it was in my room, I think that'd be weird.
Do you guys get annoyed with all the whiskey?
No, it's kind of
No.
tasty.
What?
Someone thought it was milk. Someone had a tasteful treat.
No, I don't really mind too much because, I mean, most of it is up here. Do you guys ever get annoyed by how many packages your dad gets?
Only
He doesn't
when we
even
have
get
to
them.
like bring them in when he's away and they're heavy. Like I'm carrying all my school stuff and I come home and I like have to bring in another package.
I don't know.
Like, we get a lot of
That's happened to
boxes.
me, but we
And
get-
then they either go right on the stairs and get in the way, or they go on the dining room table until Dad gets around to opening them and then clutters the table up with the bottles as he goes to do something else.
Yeah, we have a lot of packages next to ourselves, but I'm not sure if that's just because they are whiskey or just because they don't.
No,
open
they're
packages.
mainly whiskey.
Okay,
But
then
they
yeah.
go on the table
yeah.
and we like that because when they're on the table, we don't have to eat.
Family dinner. Yeah, it's really
Good
nice.
point.
Do you guys ever get annoyed with how much traveling your dad does?
Your papa's always away.
Does he travel?
You miss your
You
papa.
miss your papa.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's always out to go get the milk.
But he actually does come back some of the times.
Wow.
Some of the times.
So
Like,
far,
you-
he's come back every time.
He'll be gone for a little bit, but he'll come back with some milk.
AKA whiskey. Because night walking's milk. But in real life, it's whiskey.
Yeah. Way to tie it all back together, so.
Yeah.
Just gotta swing back around to that.
What is that
Whiskey
game,
is milk.
Nightcrawlers? What's that game?
That's not whiskey related, so...
So we're gonna have to skip that one.
Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah. Thanks for the question.
Anyways, that's a little weird.
You guys should ask us a question.
Yeah,
I know,
we're
I
doing
literally
one.
just
Shut up,
did.
shut up. I'm thinking. Maybe don't ask a question. I'm gonna figure it out. One time, Dad brought home chocolate, but inside the chocolate there was whiskey. Do you guys have that experience?
No.
Yeah. His dad has some, like,
But I ate it
whiskey,
because I didn't know.
whiskey truffles. I think I ate one.
And then she got totally
Not knowing
drunk.
what
She
it-
had to go to the
Oh.
hospital, get her stomach pumped.
Tummy pumped.
Is that
Yeah,
actually
right.
true?
Yeah.
I don't believe you guys.
No, I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
I think they're making up stories.
Oh yeah, they're definitely making that up.
So that's not possible, but maybe eating cat shit is.
Yes.
No words, Delma.
Our parents are gonna hear
Hoochie
me.
mama, that was a mistake.
On the count of three, let's all say hoochie mama. 1, 2, 3. Hoochie mama.
We have to redo that now. Thanks a lot, Kai. 1, 2, 3.
Hoochie mama.
Kai, you're ruining this experience for us, okay? Can we just get this seriously, guys?
Or just
please
not talk.
Kai, like honestly, you're here and I need you here. Can we please just on the count of 3 do this? 1,
Fine.
2, 3.
Hoochie mama.
Okay,
I
we're
can't.
done.
I
We're done.
can't.
We're done.
Leave.
Okay, let's
Hoochie
ask
mama.
questions. Let's ask questions.
Like. Have you ever drank the whiskey?
No. Yeah, one time.
One says yes, one says no.
No, one time at Shabbat, and Mimi was away at a friend's house. I think it was Wednesdays, and Dad goes, "Here, Doma, taste this. It tastes like cake. It's cake flavored whiskey." And so I tasted it. It was not. It was so disgusting.
Well-
it burns my throat.
Whenever
Yes.
I'm in his room and he has whiskey open, I always smell it.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
But
my
I
dad
don't.
does
I
do
don't.
that.
I don't usually drink it. But when I was 5,
I don't usually drink it, he says.
he gave me 10 samples and I tasted them all.
Wait, did you take the whole sample or just like a little?
Just like a little sip.
When you were
10
5 years
samples?
old.
Maybe like 7, but yeah. I'm not joking.
Oh.
That,
Yeah,
but
I've had the same experience, but
You
not,
have?
but not with whiskey. It was with beer.
That's different.
Yeah, that's
Me
The
and my dad,
ABV is a
me
little
and Dad
lower.
were watching a movie or
Zev
something.
knows
I
all
don't even
about
remember what
ABV.
movie.
I do.
But Dad had a beer, but I don't even know what I had. I probably had like a sippy cup of something. And he
I
was-
thought you were
my-
15, Kai.
No, when I was like 4.
Oh, I see.
And
Oh, Liquid came up with that one.
we don't need to know that.
Okay, keep going.
But anyway, Dad had a beer and he was like, "You want to try some?" Like, sure. I was like 4. I didn't know any better. So I tried and was like, "Ugh, that tastes terrible." And he's like, "Yeah, it's beer."
I thought he liked beer.
LMAO.
Of their beer and stuff. Like one time for Shabbat, we didn't have any Manischewitz, so we did green apple schnapps. Was it?
Yeah,
Schnapps?
What's
I
schnapps?
don't know what it was, but
It
Delma
was green
suggested
apple
it.
something, because I saw green apple. I'm like, that's probably like a Jolly Rancher, except it tasted too sweet. It was disgusting.
But did it still have like that burn of alcohol?
Yeah, it was.
Do you drink wine every Shabbat?
No, like we forget. Do you?
No.
A lot
It's not very good.
Sometimes
I
you
like
don't even set the
Manischewitz.
table.
I'm not old enough. And yet I drink whiskey.
Sev, remember your
What?
potatoes.
Wait, Zev, you don't have to take a sip of like the Manischewitz on Shabbat.
Bar mitzvah coming up.
No.
June.
Do you do grape juice?
June?
No.
No,
don't do
we
anything?
don't.
No.
Like at home, we don't normally do anything for Shabbat.
But like,
I mean,
when
like
you
we'll
do Shabbat,
we'll
do
light
you
candles
do
and
wine?
no, we won't.
No.
I mean, if Dad has like a bottle of wine somewhere, yeah, he'll drink
okay.
some of it if he's feeling it.
Yeah.
But we
But,
don't
like,
we don't
sherry?
have to take any.
I mean, we don't have to take. Sorry, we don't
You
have to take any
but,
either.
like, it's just like,
I don't think I
Fun.
really ever do.
I mean, I take a little sip, but I'm not like chugging it.
Okay, this is not whiskey related.
Well, it's Shabbat.
I mean, it's alcohol. Alcohol's whiskey.
Yeah.
and it's Shabbat.
Actually, the difference between whiskey and wine is one is grapes and one's barley and stuff.
and the
and
ABV is
stuff.
higher in whiskey than it is a wine.
Oh, other way around.
Just some of the.
Yeah,
No.
wine
Some of
is
the
actually 90% alcohol.
Wine, yeah, no, they just
They
dilute
put-
it in water.
They put wine
Every single-
in our like hand sanitizer machines at school.
Yeah, every wine is just the concentrate, and you need to mix your own water
Yeah.
with it.
You could actually make wine by taking grape juice and isopropyl alcohol.
One
Just
time
mixing
Delma
them
did that.
together. Yeah, hashtag party at my place.
But isn't isopropyl alcohol just rubbing alcohol,
Yeah, but it's alcohol.
which is like
no, that's the
99.9%
same
pure?
thing. That's the same thing as wine. It's just a little water.
I feel like there's something that we're missing here.
I feel like you guys don't understand a lot about
like
alcohol.
the whiskey,
I think it's quite the
isopropyl
opposite.
alcohol and barley mixed together. Barley
Yeah.
puree.
And like fermented.
but
It's
no,
fermented too.
Yeah,
No,
it's
no,
fermented,
this-
which produces the
But
alcohol.
wine isn't.
No, they
Because
that's how
fermentation.
they did it in the old days, but these new days they don't have time for that. They need it just quick on the go. So it's actually barley puree and isopropyl alcohol mixed together.
Can we keep asking
No,
questions?
that I
Yes,
don't.
it is.
I don't believe that.
That doesn't matter.
We're going to keep asking questions.
Okay, think of a question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you guys ever come home and your dad is actually really drunk?
No.
No,
Plus, maybe.
but I feel like there's a story behind that.
What are you talking about?
Did it happen to you?
Guys, would you
I
rather
swear
drink
to God.
hooch or whiskey?
I don't know what hooch is. So
What?
whiskey.
Prison wine?
Hooch. I mean whiskey.
Is that just grapes and isopropyl alcohol?
No.
And pee.
No, so prison wine
need
is
to-
they,
they need
put
to
it
make
in
it in
the
their
tank of
toilet.
the toilet. They get like grapes or whatever fruit. I think people can do it with fruit wine. I'm not sure the process, but it's definitely fermented.
Did you just say fruit wine?
You can make fruit wine.
Wine is from a fruit.
No. Like fruit wine is like raspberry wine.
Can we talk about whiskey?